G'day, welcome to part 18, I think, on the Fairlane. This is a good video because we get the thing running, and it runs so beautifully. Still haven't driven it yet, so, it remains to be seen how effective our repairs are that we've done, not just the engine, but the other stuff as well. We get a visit from Daniel with a lovely XE Falcon. Daniel's the bloke who's given us a lot of support with parts, seats and doors and clips and dash frames and knobs, you name it. He's been really wonderful and very generous to me, so thanks, Daniel, if you see this. But with that being said, I hope you enjoy. I'm just out here now, about to pack up. She looks good, doesn't she? Yeah, I think it might be raining. Damn. I couldn't even finish the backyard, the bats weren't flat. We're going to clean those gutters out. What's it like this side? I still haven't walled in some of it. I'm gonna fix that. But here's good. Look. Look at this. Uh-oh. Oh, damn. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know about that. Better put some sealer up there, I think. That's never done that before. Yeah, I don't like that. That's not great. It's not leaking there, it's just there. What's the bloody leaking? It doesn't come in. I used to hate it when the rain used to come in. This would have flooded for sure before. Okay, we've got some coming in here now. But once I get those things up, that should be alright. Damn, that's some pretty heavy duty water. What's it look up here? It used to come flying in the door, which is just about to, from next door. Stress. Mastic sealer. Have you any idea how hard it is to get mastic sealer that stays uncured but skins off, if you know what I mean? Demastic or Selly's Demastic, I don't know what you want to call it, is one example, and I can't get it anywhere. Tuber lasted 20 years, but for some reason it's always sold out or zero stock or whatever. Couldn't get any. The last of it I used on the heater box. So this is Bostik 5615. I think the 5614 doesn't skin off. It stays wet all its life. And so I'm sort of hoping this is good for the transmission tunnel. Now I couldn't put that on just yet because it was always going to be far easier to put the speedo transducer and modulator valve vacuum lines on. That might not be big enough. That's 3/16. Vacuum modulators normally have a bigger vacuum line because they've got to respond quite quickly. It remains to be seen if that's any good. If it's not, I'll change it out. That's the speedo transducer, of course. This one had the pink gear, and there could be an issue with that because that's for a 292. I think this has a 277 rear end in it, which means it should be purple. And it's the same number of teeth from 6 or a Borgie to a C4, so I'm kind of hoping that's alright. If the rear, I'll know when I check the rear axle ratio. So now I can sort of put a bit of goop around here, or at least on there. I gave this a good clean up and mount it permanently. That will be rather good. Blocked EGR valve. I've drilled that out to make it more efficient, so you can see through it now. This one's not terribly good. You can see how solidly blocked it is. This is where the exhaust comes up. The valve then opens and exhaust is distributed to be reburnt. Very small amount of exhaust, but EGR valves are a legal requirement on this car. This casting's all good except there. It's gone there. So it's had it. So what we're going to do is help improve our exhaust gas recirculation system. Now we've got these for the original manifold, which I don't want to use. And we might have to check that out and stick it in. There's plenty of meat for the threads. That way we can still have a functional EGR valve, you know. The other thing is in behind there. I've got to see. We'll see. I'm not really sure where to go with it, but I'll come up with something. At least we've got it nice and clear, and we can get those exhaust gases burning through the engine again. In the meantime, we have this rather splendid box of AFL1s. I bought 10 of them. They're cheaper than Z9s too. So I think I'll do an oil and filter change. Right, well, until I've got this, all this fuel system and throttle cable and all that stuff sorted, I'm just going to leave that dirty old engine stand air cleaner on there. Underneath, we have a mighty fine view of the, anyway. First oil leak. I've just nipped it up and I've made another fuel line. I'll show you that in a moment. I'm just going to stick these manky old engine pipes on. It's got a 2-inch sort of spigot coming off. I think 302s use 2-inch, maybe. I think 6s are 1 7/8, 302s are 2-inch, and 351s are 2 1/4. I think 2 1/8. I can't remember. I did know, which was useless information. So I haven't got studs. We're using bolts today. I'm just going to stick some goober in there and try and hang this engine pipe. The water's coming, but not to worry. I've fitted the exhaust just with bolts. I haven't got studs at the moment, but this is off the engine stand, this engine pipe. There we go. I'll just tighten that nut up. I'll have to buy some studs, and I wonder if the 6-cylinder exhaust will tie up to that. I do want a 2 1/4. I don't want just a 2-inch though. But yep, we're getting there. The oil leak is still there, but very slight at the moment. I'm expecting this thing to open up like a sprinkler when we start it. But for now, it's not too bad. Hang on, there's a mark. Damn. Alright, I might go inside now. It's grassy and wet, so I might come back out tomorrow. I've got to put a driver's seat in just so I can move this thing around. And I've been thinking a bit about the brakes. There's the rear brake line. So I'll pop a new line all the way down. I've ordered a rubber one. And then I might hook it up to the old brakes and just bleed the old brakes. And then replace all that when I take the axle out. I've got to take the rear axle out of the thing anyhow. Because I want it to look like that. I want it to look all nice. Oh, I've got to measure the sway bar. Damn, I forgot. I'm filthy. I've spent the whole bloody day cleaning up. And not so much in here, a little bit sort of around the back with this, what do you call it, scrap metal on the back porch. I've got to power wash the back porch and re-oil it. My gurney's got a problem. The plastic fitting that goes onto the hose from here is apparently known on these things for failing. This one had a really, like a hairline in it, which is the reason it was sort of sending water everywhere. So this is obsolete, this one, and there's a 120.5 version, whatever, that has a very similar looking part this camera's playing up. So if I can get that and stick it on, I'm out of the woods. We'll talk about this in a moment. Look what I've just discovered. It appears a 6-cylinder exhaust fits a V8. It's the wrong diameter, to be honest. It's not going to be good enough, really. But in order to get the car running and get it down for roadworthy, that's fine. If anything, the spigot on the back of that engine pipe is a bit too long. And I cut, I don't know if you can see on here, I cut a small bit off the tailpipe, thinking it's going to be jammed in there. And then, of course, it just fell in my hand. Now I've cut it. But I can just weld it together and stick the tailpipe back in, fully functional exhaust, you know what I mean? So it'll be fine for just moving the car around, and plodding around while it's running in, but I wouldn't want to stick my foot down in it. It's obviously going to have too much back pressure, and I don't think it'd do it all that much good. Silhouetted sawzall. I use that to cut that. Where is my camera lens? That bit off there. Now I think it's going to be alright. So sure. Look how oily this is. It looks terrible. The reason I cut that off is because I actually stuck that hammer down. There's a sort of a restriction there. So I'm tipping that's going to be fine. Let's stick a bit of goop around today. 3-bond. It's a bit of a waste of 3-bond this, but it is what it is. Can I reach? Oh, look at that. Such circular reach. Should be right. I've got to get a new tripod because the tripod I'm using is terrible. Hang on a minute. And I can't see what I'm bloody doing. There we go. Be around there somewhere. Oh well. We're even using these clamps again. They came off beautifully. Bit of CRC, good to go. We'll find the nuts. Yes, I can see the nuts. I can't find my ring spanner. Right, okie dokie. We're looking at these things now. I did this on the XW some time ago. These are the door locks from the XA. You can see how absolutely beautiful they are. Now the right ones are marked right, or an R. Also behind on this lever here. Yep. This is the back door one. There's a through bolt going through the handle that actuates on that and pushes it down. You can see there's a small indentation there. Damn, have I got the wrong trajectory? That's where the back door handle's been pushing from. It's a funny bolt. It sort of goes through. Then there's a sort of an empty shank on the end of it. Have I got one here? It looks like I haven't. Same thing. Yes, right. That's the front one. Idiot. Hang on. Right. And the two rights there. Now I'm putting these springs in. Now what I did is I took these out. Each lock has a long spring and a little sort of half round spring there, and they're a bit of a pain to put in. Now these aren't lubricated yet. The springs are all different, so if you find they've got sort of they're opposite like that, you know they're often opposing door mechanisms. These two here are identical. Now when I had them plated, I didn't bother I didn't bother unhooking that one, and John warned me. He told me to unhook that and I didn't. Thin springs have a propensity of breaking when they're hydroblasted because of hydrogen embrittlement. Large ones, they're probably not so much. I don't know. And they're pretty easy to put in. They're very prehistoric looking things. There's a little hole there which corresponds around the other side. That sits in. Goes over here and stabs in through that little cast or pressed rebate there, and they're quite stiff. There we go, and that will give it spring tension. Pretty easy. So where's the other back door one? This one. Pop that one in as well. There go the dogs. They're not my dogs, they're somebody else's dogs. Where is it? It is here. There it is there. And it's easy to locate. It's sort of at the top here. So that one I had trouble a second ago because this was slid up. That's got to be down and then through the hole. Yeah? And it's not even a neat fitting spring. It does protrude a little bit. And again, we're just going to go through the hole. And I'll just put my thumb over that to stop it potentially flying away. And there we go. Now this is going to have to all be lubricated. Okay. These guys on the other hand, well, actually I'll do these other ones, but these guys on the other hand are a pain in the bum. They fit inside there. So one part of it is looped around that catch, the other part of it is through that little hole there. Yeah? Can I do that again? There. So it catches against there and against where the screwdriver is. I can't remember. Oh, gave me a fright. I can't remember. So they're identical. These might all be the same. I actually have no idea. They're opposite. No, they're not. No, they're opposite. These are the same. They're identical. So I'm tipping these belong on the two back ones. And they don't actually loop around anything. They go in. They did, honestly. They go in. Then you've got to get that around and under there. Huge pain in the bum. And you've got to be careful because I've already lost one under the deck. There we go. I've just got to grab it and then hook it around there. And I found on the other side it was easier with one of these and putting my finger over it, but I can't get this one in. It's different on this side. So these aren't much fun. There's 5 locks here. I've got both fronts done. They're a pain in the neck, actually. How do I... Oh, that's the back one. There's the front one. I've got that one done. I've got one of the back ones done. This one. And this one here, I'm missing the spring. Yeah, so I've just got 3 of these, and there's still more on the other doors. And 2 of those, so there's 5. These can be packed up for now, though. Now, in with that, things like the bonnet lock, what have I got in here? That's for the boot. That could be the Galaxy, I can't remember. But I've also been getting these sorts of things done as well. And, you know, pivots for the door actuators and this sort of stuff. Every time I do a little bit of work, there's a mountain of cleaning up to do. Here is 302 I was talking about. There's a couple of things with this. I would like to bore it. Probably can't see that from here. It was donated by Marty, and he warned me a couple of times actually, these aren't the right caps that came off it. So I've taken it into my line board, and what they do, they actually hone the bottom of the cap, refit it, then rebore it, so you can use, what do you call it, the standard bearings. Now this is a Bitzer engine. If you end up with a block that's got the wrong caps on it, after they've been sort of line board and resized and all this sort of stuff, he does recommend using a 1-piece rear main oil seal. Just for the fact, have I got out of focus? Yeah. Just for the fact that everything's truly aligned then. He's also put some cam bearings in it for me too. So, now this, because I'm not boring it, I've got pistons somewhere over there. They've all been hydroblasted. Now, this is a re-ringer, and the reason, if I bore it, I'm going to stroke it, and I don't want to stroke it. I want a 302 for the wagon. I'm not ready to use it yet, obviously, but, you know, it's going to be bits and pieces. It came with some cylinder heads, there was no crank, so I've got a good standard crank that was in Jason Hill's Fairlane. Absolutely beautiful crank, and nothing wrong with it. It doesn't need grinding, so I'm just going to clean it up and use that crank. And Byron, wonderful Byron, donated a timing cover. So we're just going to use bits and pieces to get this engine going. We'll put new Welsh plugs in it, and I'll have to get a cam plug for it because that's been taken out and needs all the gallery plugs put in. It needs to be all cleaned up, bit of a hone, make it presentable. Okay, just going to get this open. Hang on a minute. Have a look at these bearings. Sometimes they shale. That's not too bad. That's just really dirty. We don't need these. Actually, they're not bad. They're just dirty. Probably should give them a wipe, shouldn't I? They're not as bad as I thought, though. But that's really stubborn, oily residue. That'd come off. But the problem with bearings like this, when they've sat for a long, long time, I've seen it on more BMC stuff than I have in local or American stuff. But they sit for a long time, and then, I don't know, they're sort of compromised after a while. They start shaling. And I've seen main bearings and big end bearings do that. And I actually had a Wolseley 2480 that I took the bearings out that looked perfect, put them in, and they started delaminating and chewed out a crank. I'm still waiting on my parts, my little gurney, and I can put that guy together. Right, here we are underneath the back. And it's decidedly dirty and so forth. It doesn't really matter though. Here's the old brake lines, which I haven't replaced yet. As a point of interest, this says ratio 277:1. It's a limited slip differential. As far as my knowledge is concerned, 292s are in 302s and 277s with 351s. I don't know what 6s use. I would have thought it'd be like a 225 or something. No, what is it? 325, sorry, 325. Here's our new hose, courtesy Pete at New Brakes, wonderful guy. We've got to stick this in and hang up the other side on a bracket up over yonder, which is not yet done. And to hold it all in, we've got this. That's an old plated one I had that's got the bit of it's just sort of worn off at the top from being dragged around in an old diff casing, I think. I don't think it matters too much. As long as there's sufficient to put the hose on, it's all good. And the hose, of course, was rotted. I'm just going to start these. These cars, as we said before, have all sorts of imperial and metric fasteners in them, which is quite challenging to follow in some ways. But, you know, as we say, it is what it is. Yeah. So I'm going to nip that up. Now, the piece of metal, there was a shield behind here. I'm not going to put it back on for the moment because it's actually hard to get the thing on and see where it comes to tightening those fittings up, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to nip that up a bit and then nip these lines up. And I've got the was that 3/8? Yeah. I've got the hang on, is that 3/8? Have I got the wrong side? No, that's the right side. What do you call it? I've got the hose, the steel hose. That doesn't look good, so I can put that on as well. I think I used a regular open ender on these. I don't think I used a flared nut spanner, which is what these are. But this just means I can bleed the brakes up, and then when I take the axle out, I'll take it out and I'll clamp that off, that rubber hose, recoil this, then put it back in. It's bleeding your brakes twice at the back, but given the room that I've given myself and a lack of forward thinking, I think this is the best solution for now. So I'm going to go and tighten this up, which is, oh, well, I might as well stick around because it's already tight. Okay. This hose, this is booster hose, not booster hose. Which hose is this? It's impervious to oil. It's been in my toolbox for a while. It is transmission cooler line, and there's a clamp that I just found, and this went somewhere. I think it went up into that hole there, so I'll just cut a bit off around about here with my blunt. I bought them when I was at Etheridge Ford many years ago, and that can just go in there. And there's a clamp that sort of holds that on against there, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get that later. In fact, that might be too short. Yeah, I should be right. That'll do for now. That hose is the same length, pardon me, as the other. It's got plenty there, but it just looks, maybe it only screws into that side one way, if you know what I mean, or it fits in through there one way. So I've got to lay out this brake line. I've got, oopsie, I've got the old one sort of lying around somewhere. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, there it is, on the ground. Just so I can see how it's mapped. I've got to put some plugs in. I'll get in, I'll do the same trick I did with the engine bay, with those, and I'll stick them up in the floor and straighten that out and make it look a bit more presentable. And then the brakes can actually be bled, which is quite a good thing. Of this,
Yeah.
because the battery is swollen up, so I've ordered another battery.
Oh, okay.
This is Daniel. G'day Daniel, thanks very much.
G'day, Peter.
Daniel's helped me out heaps with the Fairlane. He's just bought some glove box hinges, a resistor for the heater fan, and a couple of knobs. So this is Daniel's XE. And you're in two minds about changing the engine?
Yeah, this 6-cylinder runs perfect. I just drove to Sydney and back, runs like a clock, but I've got a V8 for it.
So
and a manual transmission, a T5.
So he's got this 302 out of the Fairlane that he's wrecked to, and that's what a lot of the parts in my Fairlane are from. And I'm going to help him fix it up. And he's thinking about putting it in here. This is a beautiful car. What did you say about the guy with the seats? So check this out. I've never seen a seat that clean in a car this old.
But when I asked the guy that was selling it, he's an older gentleman, he said, I said, how come the seat's so perfect? I mean, this is so. He goes, oh, and he pointed over that way a bit, and he goes, oh, that XF seat's been in there for the last 15 years. I just put this in yesterday because I'm selling it.
Unbelievable. And 350,000 Ks with upholstery like this. The car's a minter. And the door handles work fine, so no stupid comments, please.
Yeah, sorry about my...
No, that's a mint car.
I got my mad science experiment with my vacuum gauge.
So the vacuum gauge, there's a problem with the back advance, or at least what was the story with that? Yeah.
I'm just checking to see a couple of places I get a bit of debt. I think I got too much advance, so I was just checking to see what's going on.
So Daniel's an ex-Ford engineer. Are you ex or still doing it?
No, I finished on the 9th of February.
Oh.
Yep.
So
after 20 years.
After 20 years. So your model was BA?
I worked on the BA was my first car.
Right.
And I worked through, my last car was the Ranger, the hybrid Ranger I worked on.
Damn. That's pretty impressive. I used to wash cars at Nielsen Holden. That's my claim to fame. Look at this. Do you remember those? I want to get one of them for the Fairlane. No, that's a beautiful car, and thanks again, mate, for all that help.
You're welcome.
On the Fairlane. So Daniel's come up to the other place to deliver the parts, which is again very kind. And you're about to head off now, aren't you?
Yep.
Thanks again, mate. It's a pleasure seeing you.
Yeah, good on you. Thanks.
Right, so I'm getting to the pointy end of this. I've rigged up a very sus looking throttle because it doesn't reach properly. And I might not get full, but I don't even care. Made up a new fuel line for it because I wasn't happy with the other one. I've located some later model alternator stuff, which I had. That's a steering box bolt. I might just buy a couple of bolts for that, and then I reckon I can use that on the other one. The electric choke's not hooked up, but the electric choke's open, so I don't think that matters. And I've got to rig up a TVS switch with EGR and all this sort of other stuff. I'm just going to put these little grommet things on, little blanks for there, which is wrong because it's the wrong manifold, but we'll just have to go with it for now. The dipstick on this is 24 inches, the dipstick on the XD was 23. Some people quote them at 18 inches. It all depends on how long that outer filler tube is. After seeing Daniel, we've got the right knobs here and here, which are nice. Glove box doors on. It doesn't fit too well because it's warped, but it opens and closes and does what it's supposed to. And the heater fan resistor's in, so this is really, really good. It's positive. The throttle's too light, but we'll figure that out later. I'm not worried. Engine's full of, or it's got oil in it. A new AFL1. We've got coolant down here, and coolant coolant's in there. It's not full though. That thing there is still, I'll get a new grommet for that. It's actually stopped leaking now. But, I don't know, we're down to that level there. Transmission, or power steering, sorry. The system's obviously empty, but the reservoir is chockers, so that'll be a start up and stop straight away. So exhaust is on, and the brakes are ready to bleed, but I'm not going to do it today. So I think we're going to start it up. Can't find the dipstick. Did I drop it? Can't see it in there. We've got, I've got to check the flare down there on that, because I did have trouble with it for some reason. That cable from the neutral start needs to be secured, but it's nowhere near an exhaust, so it's going to be quite safe to test. Kickdown's not on yet. I've got to do something with that. And the idle up solenoid. I've got to put one of those on. I've got my boat fuel tank ready with fuel in it. Where is this damn dipstick? I'll go with this air cleaner just for the initial start, fluids, checking for leaks, that sort of thing. Need a fire extinguisher. I'll go and get one of those. I've just got to get this dipstick and I think we're ready to go. So I've sort of got a battery. I've got to redo that, it looks terrible. I don't really care for now though. We've got a boat fuel tank with some juice in it. And I've checked, although it isn't crucial, that strap to the back of the engine, for starting it, you know, your earth goes straight to the block anyway. This is for the whole car. It is important, otherwise you can earth through your speedo cable and all that, even though this hasn't got one. It'll find a back feed somewhere else. Anyway, I'm going to stick this up on the tripod. And this is, I haven't started yet, but we're going to do it now. I'm just hoping this thing is still alright. Anyway, I'll give it a bit of a drink to get things moving along. Let it start drawing fuel. And I'll know fairly quickly, just in case it backfires. I don't think I moved the distributor, but it doesn't matter. So I've got the transmission nice and high. It's got to fill up the converter and the cooler and everything. Same with the power steering. We'll see if it starts or kicks. Started and kicked. Give it more of a drink, but this is a pretty good time to be checking all this stuff. I'm just using the 6 cylinders dipstick. No, it hasn't started pumping out yet. I think we've got to get it going properly. What about this? What's this doing? Yeah, not enough. Okay. Come on. Let's go. That should be enough. Let's check some levels. Yep, she's bony dry. That's good. That's what we want. The front pump works. We put a new front pump in, and she's bony dry too. Excellent. This is good. Right, so what I'm going to do is going to start filling it up and keep filling it until it's had enough. There's a fuel leak. Oh shoot, that's not what I want. Just a sec. So that's shifted, but that's actually pretty good. But this guy down here, that spot there will be from my dodgy flare. Yep, when you know it. Funky crap going on with the gauges, look at this. Hold that, it stays on. Temperature hikes. Gonna have to sort those issues out. And the fuel pump's leaking. So that's my fault. That was the flare I did. So still going around checking all these. Oh, that's starting to bleed now. That's cool. Engine oil. I haven't had it running for any length of time, so there shouldn't be any temperature business going on in here. Oh, that's nice and full. Thermostat's not open. I don't really care about that. I'm more worried about power steering oozing liquid everywhere or the transmission. But I want to see the wheels rotate with the transmission too. But we'll just double check the levels and we'll go again. Got some drive. I think it's I put a stack of tranny fluid, like it's a little bit of slip on this, isn't it? Yeah. So put about 8 litres in. I better turn it off. Hang on. Yeah, it's still pumping through. So we've got some funky stuff happening with the dash. It's either a back feed because I forgot to put an earth on, or it could be anything. I haven't really looked into it. I will, and I'll double check the wiring to the sensors. Temperature sender unit is probably stuffed. I've got to fix up that tick, tick, tick fuel leak. Otherwise I'm pretty happy with it, so I think it'll do for this one. At the end of the day, there's still more to do, but it's looking pretty good. On that note, I'll say thanks very much for watching. Enjoy Classic and we'll see you soon.